Hello YouTube, I'm APC. Today I'm making this tutorial for you guys. In this tutorial we're going to talk about dialog boxes, or stuff from the JOptionPane class. So what this basically does is it will create pop-up windows, and this is very useful. So when you want to ask the user to input something, or if you want to just pop up a confirm window, then you don't need to worry about making pulling up a window and putting a JLabel in there, or in whatever other Swing components you might need. You just type in this one method and it works. And the subtext will be talking about them. This is sort of contrary to what I talked about in the previous tutorial. The previous tutorial I kind of want to set up, or I guess my original tutorial. In that tutorial I kind of wanted to set up for all the Swing tutorials of how to add components to a window and working with JFrame and containers and all that. But in this tutorial we're not going to be making windows at all. We're not going to be setting up a window. We're not going to be using JFrame or anything like that. We're just going to be making pop-up window after pop-up window, and that's what the whole thing is going to be based on. I didn't plan to make a tutorial just dialog box or these pop-up windows, but I designed all the other ones and I didn't end up using it. But I wanted to include it, and instead of finding a way to implement them in the other ones, I thought of a really fun way to use them in one single tutorial. And that way is I guess you'd call it a fill in the blank game, where you prompt the user for different words, and then you plug in those words to a short story. And the story always sounds very weird because the user doesn't know what context those words are being used in. So let me go ahead and show you how this would work. This is the website where I found a fill in the blank game, or wacky web tales as this website calls it. So these are a whole bunch of different fill in the blank games that this website has for us to try out. The one that I decided to use for this tutorial is The Sky is Falling, because I didn't look through all of them, but I believe this is one of the shorter ones, and I thought it was kind of funny. Alright, so this is how it works. This says what you need to input, and where you input it, you can input anything. So for color, I'll say green, liquid, orange juice, and then for plural noun, so I need plural noun. Rubik's cubes. That works. I thought of these beforehand. When I went through this game the first time, I had so much trouble because this isn't how my mind works. I'm not a programmer. Words aren't natural to me, so it took me a while to think them up, but now I got them all written down, so I can think of pretty quickly. So an adjective, big, that works. And then present tense verb, fly. And erasers. Well, I said erasers because it's plural noun. I started running out of ideas, and I had an eraser close to me, so I went into that. Singular noun, clog, which is a Dutch wooden shoe. They're pretty cool things. Then just go through the rest of them. Elastic. For adjective, run as present tense verb, and another present tense verb, I'll say hide. Run and hide. And for a single noun, let's see, saxophone. I learned how to play saxophone. Alright, so all these words had nothing to do with each other, seemingly. And with all these random words, they throw together a story, or they plug them into a story and to make the story change a little bit. So let's see our wacky web tale. Each spring the sky turns green, kind of odd. Giant drops of orange juice fall from the sky. All this orange juice helps the grass and the Rubik's cubes to grow. Interesting. But it can make things really big too. Also interesting. Some places get so much orange juice that rivers fly into the street. Driving can be tricky when this happens, so some people put special erasers on their car. Who knows what those will be used for. And when the orange juice is falling, don't forget your clog, otherwise your feet might get elastic if you run in puddles. I guess creative way of saying slip. And clog, you're more likely to fall, so I'm not sure if that'll help you or not. After all the orange juice has fallen, the skies begin to hide. If you're lucky, you might see a huge saxophone stretch across the sky. So, you know, there are infinite possibilities of different stories that can be generated, and I think it's kind of funny. So this is what we're going to do in our in this tutorial. We're going to make a program that will generate this based on user input. And the user input is going to be taken in all from dialog boxes, or I guess in general we'll say things from the JOptionPane, like I sort of said in the introduction, I guess. So JOptionPane is the only class we're going to need for this, so I'll just go and outline it for you. So this class is considered pretty overbearing, or it can be seen as overbearing because there's like a lot of different methods, and most of them have kind of abstract: get root frame, get UI, get value, get once input, param string. So it can be tricky to fathom at first, but it's very, very flexible. So if I scroll up, you can see here this is how they're all set up. It has an icon, a message, input values, and option buttons. So you can change anything about these, basically, which is one of the reasons why there's so many methods and it gets overbearing really quickly. But as said in the API right here, while the JOptionPane class may appear complex because of large number of methods, almost all uses of this class are one-line calls of the static show something dialog methods shown below. So these are 4 things that really make up the class. These are the 4 things that people really use all the time. And these are the 4 things I'm going to be showing you today. So show confirm dialog, you get these all the time. If you try and close out of a file without saving, it'll say, are you sure you want to close without saving? Generally say, no, I didn't mean to press that, which is nice, which that's what these are for, to make sure that you don't screw up. And so these are generally yes, no, cancel as I set up, but they can be set up differently, which is we'll talk about that as well. Show input dialog, right here, prompt used for input, so you can just, it'll ask you a question and say you can input whatever, which is what we're using a lot for the user to input different things. And message dialog, just giving them a message, nothing more. Generally you can only press OK. I think you might be able to press cancel sometimes, I'm not 100% sure. And then show option dialog, those are the ones that where you have multiple options. So this is called the grand unification of 3, but I sort of see it as its own thing, sort of. I suppose it is the most complicated one, but yeah, those are just a couple options. And that's how this class is set up. So we'll be referencing this every now and then while we're writing our code. So here's our file. I've already saved it as a fill-in-the-blank.java, and I have some stuff here just for reference. This is the 4 things we're going to learn about, and these are the different words that we need to prompt them for. I just wrote these down for reference so I don't look back at the website every time. The first one was a color, then a liquid, and then so on and so on. Okay, let's get started. So public class fill in the blank. My main method public static void main string args. And it's a good habit not to reference these things from a static context, because that could result in all kinds of problems. Static versus non-static. I should probably make a video just talking about that, because most of my tutorials, I say it's too complicated to explain. I don't want to explain it right now. It's not what it's about. I'll make a tutorial about that someday, and then when I come to this point, I can say reference that. So new fill in the blank. This will make a new object of this class, and I'm referencing the constructor there. So go ahead and set up the let's go ahead and set up the constructor. So public fill in the blank, then here we are. Alright, so we want to record the answers for all of these different words, so I'm going to go ahead and make an array for that. That's probably the most efficient way of doing it. An array which will contain all of the different answers. So string ANS equals new string, and there are going to be 11 possible, there would be 11 spots in that array. If you don't understand arrays, I have a tutorial talking all about that. I'm actually quite proud of that one. So there are 11 things in here, therefore we have 11 spots in the array. Next, let's go ahead and start us off. And for this, to start us off, we'll just pop up a window saying let's get started or something like that. So we're going to call a method from JOptionPane, and that method will be show message dialog. Some of you might have noticed that I didn't import it. I need to do that. I didn't forget, or I guess I did forget temporarily. So java.x.swing.JOptionPane. This is the only thing we're going to need to import, but it's a very important one. Let's go back to our API and look up what the constructor is for show message dialog. So, like I've said, there's a lot of methods in here, so as a programmer we can take advantage of higher levels of thinking and use Control F to find things. Show message dialog. Of course it's shown here in the beginning. There's an example, and here are 3 constructors. Perfect. Component, parent component, and object message. That's probably the simplest one. Let's see what else there is. I think this one looks good. I don't really care about the icon. So I clicked on it to get more information because this component, parent component, seems a little bit odd. Let's find out what that is. Determines the frame in which dialog is displayed. If null, the parent component has no frame and a default frame is used. So in the intro I said one nice thing about this is you don't have to worry about making a frame in a window and all that. If you have one, you can have it shown inside it, but as is we don't, so we're just going to go with null, like it says right here. And then the message, and that'll be a string, and the title, which will be another string, that'll be the title of the window, and the message type. Okay, let's see what options do we have here. An error message, information method message, warning message, question message, or plain message. I think we'll make an information message because we're trying to tell them something. Notice that's an integer, but these are words. That's because they're stored as they're variables inside this class. Like for an error message, it's an integer that's stored inside this class, which is used to represent an error message, and they just put in a word to make it easier for us. But when we're going to use information message. So null, the message title, and message type. Okay, easy enough. No, we want to make a new window for this. Message. Let's make a story. Smiley. Next, what do I want title to be? Fill in the blank. Okay, we're running out of space here. Move on, next line. Game. And last part, message type. We were going for information message, which is spelled like that. It's a variable inside the JOptionPane class, so we'll say JOptionPane dot information message. All good, we got our first one down. Now moving right on, we're going to go through each one of these individually. I'll go through the first two or so slowly, but after that we're going to move right through them because they're basically all the same. I'm going to go and add them all in as comments so we can keep organized where we are. Alright, color. For this one I'm going to use the option dialog. So let's go ahead and call the method JOptionPane show option dialog. Okay, bingo. There's only one constructor for this one. Makes choice easy for us, but there's a lot of stuff in here. Oh, most stuff we don't really care about. The reason so much of this, because as it said in this file, it's the grand sum of the previous three types. So we'll just have to go through all of them in one. Let's see, that one's the same, that one's the same, that one's the same. We also had message type, but didn't have option type. I wonder what option type is. What are our options for option type? Default option, yes, no option, yes, no. Cancel option, okay, cancel option. Doesn't really matter. We'll just put it in 0 because the thing is, these are assuming that you want to have buttons that follow these, but we don't. We want to have it be colors in our case. So we'll just put down 0 for that. I guess that'll be default option. And then message type is the same thing. In this case, it'll be a question message. Icon, we don't care about the icon, we'll say null for that one. Options, overgraph has been ready for that, that'll be fun. Initial value, we'll set that to 0. We don't really care what the initial value is. Alright, let's see if I can remember all that. So, it was null. And then the text, I'm going to pull up the window next to it so I can just pull it over here to the side so I can keep track of everything. So no, what message? Let's say, what's your favorite color? I want to make it more interesting than to say input a color, because then this way it's easier to come up with the answer and it'll be more fun. Alright, title, we'll say color for the title. Then what's the next one? Option type, we'll say 0 for that because we don't really care. Message type, question message, I believe is the one that we went with. Yes, question message, and it's integer variable inside the JOptionPane class, so we're gonna say JOptionPane dot question message. Alright. Oh wait, we're not done yet. Oops. Moving right along. Icon, we don't care, we'll say no. Options. Options, oh yes, this is the array. We'll go and set up the array. We'll say string array colors equals new. Oh, not new. We'll set up the string array. What color should you? Orange. That has my favorite color, so I'll put that one in, of course. Green, that's why I put in the question answer. Let's go with the primary blue, yellow, green. Or not blue, yellow, green, blue, yellow, red. Blue, yellow, red. Let's see, when my dad took this test, he said purple, so I'll do that one as well. That's good. Nice solid 6 colors. So we'll say Q1 for our colors as our array. And next is initial value 0, so it'll initially be set to orange, which works for me. And then we have, that's it, we're done. Now, of course, we have this array up here, and we want this to be recorded, or whatever our answer is to be recorded to the array. So how are we going to do that? As you can see in the, as you can see in the API, this method returns an integer, which is which one of these, 0, 1, 2, or 3. That's a slight problem because we want to say orange, green, or yellow, or blue, or whatever color. So I'm going to say color index. That'll be integer, and I'm going to set that equal to our thing here. And then I'm going to press enter here to keep things more organized. Bingo. Now we have our color index, we can find out what we want our first index in our answers array to be. We want to be this index of this array. So we have our colors array, and we're going to call color index as the index we're going to call there. Bingo. Moving right along, liquid, what shall we use for this one? I say we use show input dialog. Alright. Show input dialog. Show input dialog. Where is it? We have a great deal of options here, probably too many options. Let us see. Let's go ahead and use this one. You have to have the parent message, the title, and the message type. Sounds like fun. So I'll bring this aside, but I have all the information right here so I can reference it. Okay. So this method is called JOptionPane.show input dialog. No, we don't care where it's going to be drawn. We want to create a new window for it. Alright, here we are. Next, what message do we want typed in? Well, we're asking for a liquid, and I thought of a creative question for each, or still not creative. Creative prompt, I guess. And this one is, what is your favorite thing to drink? What is your favorite thing to drink? A lot of people put water. A lot of people are prompted to put water. When I went through this thing the first time, I said water, which is kind of boring, just like rain, nothing special. Water falling from the sky. So if I do it this way, generally they don't say water, so it'll be more interesting this way. Alright. Next, the title. We will title this one liquid. Liquid. And next is the message type. We will say question message, just like the previous one. So JOptionPane.question message. And then the last but not least, oh, that was last, I believe. Yes, that was last. So we're done. We finished that one. And this one returns a string. You can see right there, it returns a string. So we're going to go ahead and directly set ans1 equal to that. So now we've stored 2 of our 11 values. I'm going to go through the next, 9 fairly quickly. If we look at our, I'm going to use show input dialog for all of them. And if we go up to some of the other show input dialogs, you'll notice that, where is it? This beautiful constructor right here only has one parameter, which makes things really easy for us. I think we shall use that one for the rest of them. That sounds like a good idea for me. Alright, so ans2, next one in there, is going to be equal to JOptionPane.show input dialog. And what do we want our message to be? Well, we're looking for a plural noun, and let me reference my notes, see what I put down. I put down name something people bring with them to school. Alright, so let's say name something, which doesn't need to be a capitalized, I guess, something people bring with them to school. Sort of open-ended. There are a lot of different answers to that question, or that prompt. I'm gonna say plural noun, just to make that clear. I probably do the same up here. Liquid, make sure they put it in right. I shall copy that. We'll put a semicolon at the end first. Never forget that. And I shall copy that and move on to the next one. And move on to the next one. And move on to the next one. And next one. And then we will just change these depending on whichever one. Bingo. So that's 1, 2, and this one's going to be the third index. By the way, if you were confused why I use 0, 1, 2, and they don't really correspond with these numbers, I just had this list start with 1 because hi, I'm recording stuff. Just now, after that. Sure. You know, I need a volunteer later. You want to be the volunteer?
What do you have to do?
Well, you don't have to do anything too hard. I'll let you know.
What did you do?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Do I have to talk?
You don't have to talk. Well, you'll find out. You'll have fun. Alright, so moving on. If you're wondering why these numbers don't match up, it's because with arrays you start with 0, or any computer science, anything, you start with 0, just because 0 is number 2, or arguably it's a number. Arguably it's a natural number, but that's a whole other can of worms that mathematicians have been arguing about for a long time. So, but in standard counting for most people we start at 1, so I just started at 1 for my little list, and for the array I started at 0, so therefore these do not match up. Done. Okay, so we're at 3 right now, and we're going to have to put something different in here. Next, good thing in my notes here, is I'd have to be creative and think of something new every single time. We're looking for text. Your have. First you want to organize. If you are making 1, 5, 6. Yeah, this one as well. Probably should couples. Thing you do when you drive a car. Something you make a car. You want to make a car. Present. Go down. My notes nice all up. Making it all now. No. See down. Down. Put something. Stays there. Okay. Nope. That's good. What it see what you're talking to present. Word. Oh, yeah, 6. That's why I have almost done. And let be almost there. Go to the. Yeah. This one. The world. And that is a singular noun. Whew, that was a lot. I may decide to fast forward through that because I didn't really say very much. If I did decide to fast forward through that, then these are all of my prompts. You could probably think of your own if you want. Let's see. So, but if you want to use mine, here I am going through it very slowly. Then you can pause it and copy them if you would like. All good. I'll decide whether I want to fast forward those 5 minutes, but not later. So, you may notice that there is one type of dialog box which I haven't covered yet. The confirm dialog, which is probably the one you see most often. So I can't possibly leave that one out. So if you ever left a website and it was one of those like spam website that's full of ads, and you try to leave and it says, are you sure you want to leave? Are you sure you don't want to leave? And it's trying to trick you into pressing the wrong one to make you stay, and it's all putting viruses on your computer and terrible stuff. Well, we're going to do something like that and try to make it equally annoying. So, if you press the wrong one, you start over the quiz. If you press the right one, you move on. So, let's see. Confirm with user. So we're going to create a integer and say input. And input, we're going to check which one they chose, and then depending which one, we're going to say whether they have to restart or not. So input equals JOptionPane dot show confirm dialog, and I'll just let you take a word for this one, null. And are you sure you are ready to see the result? I'm going for the most basic form of the show confirm dialog constructor, and this one will, the most basic form is by default yes, no, cancel, in that order. So those are all the options that the user then has. Alright, if our input is equal to 1 or our input is equal to two equal signs, equal to 2, meaning he said no or cancel, that means that he wants to start from the beginning. So we're going to say, I didn't create this variable yet, but I'm going to create a variable, and it's going to be called done, and it's going to be equal to false. So false means not done with the questions yet. True means you are done with the questions. Else, we ask them another question because we want to annoy the heck out of this person. Okay, to make this restart thing work, I'll go ahead and get that figured out. We're going to create a while loop. So we're going to put this whole thing in a while loop. While not done. If you're not done, continue looping. And then when we start it, we're going to go ahead and, well, I better create it up here. Done equals true. So we'll actually do done equals false. So I'm going to say boolean done equals false. Okay? And then when we start it, we're going to set it to true. Done equals true. So that way, if false isn't triggered down here, it'll still complete. Gotta be careful because otherwise you might get infinite loops and that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to go ahead and tab this whole thing to make it cleaner. Perfect. And then we end the while loop down here. Alright then. Next part. We're going to ask another question. Input is equal to our next question. JOptionPane dot show confirm dialog. And we want to use different type. So I'm going to have to use different constructor because the default only covers one type. Let me see how does the construction work. It has, I'll split this one over multiple lines because it's a little bit bigger. Null, we want to be displayed another window, and we'll just check again to make sure you're sure. Really? This is your last chance to bail. Are you certain? And then, so that's the second parameter. Next parameter is the title. We don't really care about the title, so I'm going to put in nothing. And the next part is what type. There are three types. There's the yes, no, cancel, which was default for the first one, and then the one we're going to use this one is JOption. Oh gosh, that boy's starting to die. JOptionPane dot, and this is a constant, so yes, no, option. Again, remember this isn't really a word. This is a number stored inside option under pane. JOptionPane, and we're calling that number to input here. So If it's yes, we move on. If it's no, we don't move on. Simple enough. So if input equals 1, we don't move on. So done equals false. Otherwise, we ask them one more question. I'll copy this because it's going to go pretty much the same way. This time it's going to be okay or cancel. So those are our two options. So we're going to pretend that we've given in and let the user continue, but we really haven't. So we're going to say, okay, we'll move on, but you can still press cancel if you're not ready. Alright? And the parenthesis. Now we're done with those. Let's see, so this is that nested if loop, if statement, that nested if statement, and this part is in the while loop. Alright, so now that we're still in the while loop, at the end of the while loop, we're either going to show them the message, or we are going to start over. Alright, so if done, we'll show them the message, but I'm going to go ahead and say start over part first because that's just a little quicker. We're going to just go and show them a message. So JOptionPane .show message, and I think it's null, and okay, we'll start over then. Alright, this is telling me we'll start over. And now, over here is our actual message. So, let's see. JOptionPane.show message. Null is our first parameter. Next one is the whole paragraph. Okay. So let's go over to our website, or the website where I found this. Now what we're going to do is put in 0 for the first one, then 1 for the next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Because those are the indexes of our answers. Okay, then we're going to say see webtail, and then I'm going to go ahead and copy this. Why don't I see everything? It's bad. Okay, that's better. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and put it into our code. So what we want to type out is that. Okay, so let's go through each one individually. Let's see, you're probably going to want to space this out a little bit, like split it into multiple lines like I did. So we're just putting multiple parts, split it in multiple parts. Go through for each of your numbers, make them ants, whatever. So that part's going to be ANS 0. Then we're going to play plus that. So before each one, we're going to put this thing, and then after each one is just going to be that. That's just a pattern I noticed after I adjusted this for each one of the numbers. So I'll just go ahead and paste that before each number. And you know what? I'm not even going to do that. That's what you'll need to do when you do this. I already have this typed out in my notes. So I think I'm going to copy and paste it because I'm lazy. There we go. So if you were to go through it, it would look like this. So instead of actually word here, we're going to plug in one of the answers that we got from our user. Alright, that makes sense. And you notice that I split this into like 3 lines or so I can read this one window very nicely. And I believe that we are done. I believe that's the end. Alright, I haven't tested this once, which means that there's about a 98% chance that there's going to be an error. A miracle will have to happen for that not be an error. and I don't have command prompt open, so I'll open it real fast. And you get to see my command prompt typing. I always make it orange because I like orange. CD swing to basic. That doesn't exist. What could I have typed down wrong? I wonder. Swing to basic. Alright, what do you call it then? Swing to... Oh, swing... Wait a second. Oh wait, okay. I'm an idiot. Basic tutorial was the first one. This is the second one. Or the second one I'm making. You can watch in whichever order you want. CD swing to... And this one's called fill in the blank. There we go, that's better. And that is where my file is located, as you can see. There we go. So Java C, fill in the blank. Java. Java spelled with 2 A's. There we go. Like I said, it's a little bit of a miracle if I didn't screw something up. Okay, at line 45, I missed a semicolon. Let's go to line 45 and check this for a semicolon. Line 45, and no, what do you mean? I forgot. Oh yeah, right here. Forgot a semicolon for the array. Next, what else do you have for me? Line 90, 100, and 120, I forgot semicolons as well. Looks like, well, yep, they're all semicolon errors. That could have been a lot worse. 90, 100, and then 120. So 90 we have over here. Right there, actually. Yeah, there we go. 90, 100. And I forgot to put semicolon there as well. 120. Right there. That wasn't bad at all. Let's see about recompiling this and see if it works better this time. I want the show message. It's called show message dialog. And that one is right. Alright. What else do you have to throw at me? Perfect. It probably took me like 20 minutes to debug it when I went through this the first time, so that's a good sign. And if you're doing this on your own, you probably would have the same thing as well if you're figuring it out on your own. Alright, let's hope this works. We have a big loop in there, so there's always danger of infinite loops. Gotta stay wary for that. Let's make a story, which was the first thing we said. And remember, we made an information message. We made an information message. Hence the I right there. Alright, looking good. Press OK. I was afraid it wasn't going to show a second one there for a second. What's your favorite color? Well, thank you for asking. Mine happens to be orange. And then next, what's your favorite drink? I'll just type in random stuff for this one because we're debugging. I don't feel like putting meaningful stuff. We'll put meaningful stuff later. Name something people bring with them to school. Okay. What is one aspect you would want an imaginary friend to have? What is something when you drive a car? That doesn't sound right, does it? Alright, here we go. I didn't put a space there. Important to keep those things in mind. Alright, that one's good. What is something you own multiple of? That. What is something you might find in the USA? That. Describe your current leader in one word. Okay. What is something you do while traveling? Okay. Name something. Okay, I spelled it wrong there. Name something. Name something. Alright, that's better. If you could have one thing in the world, in the what would it be? Okay. If you could have one thing in the world, what would it be? In the world space. Alright. Alright, sure, you want to see the result? Okay, now I gotta try and go through this. Yes. Really? This is your last chance to bail? Yeah, I'm certain. Okay, we'll move on. But you can still press cancel. Okay, perfect. And here it is. A lot of the AOEU things, which is all I put down, really. Alright, yeah, then press OK, and it's done. No infinite loops to worry about. Alright, now let's test user satisfaction, shall we? I'm gonna go find a volunteer. I'll be right back. Okay. Alright, lovely subscribers, we have a volunteer for our program. Here he is. Everyone say hi to Lucas. Okay, Lucas, say hi.
Thank you. Hi.
Alright, perfect. So Lucas, this is a very fun program that I made. I'm gonna test it out. I'm gonna see what you think of it. Java, fill in the blank. Actually, no, I gotta compile it first. Oh no. Alright, awesome. Java C, fill in the blank. Java. And now we're gonna run it. Java, fill in the blank. Perfect, okay. Alright, Lucas, let's make a story. Ready?
Okay.
Alright. What's your favorite color, Lucas?
Red.
Red. We have red here. What's your favorite thing to drink, Lucas? Has to be a liquid.
Soda.
Soda? That's fairly general.
Dr. Pepper.
Well, Dr. Pepper. We can say Dr. Pepper. Dr. Name something people bring with them to school. Okay, you can type it down.
Drugs.
Drugs?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to type it, or should I do it?
You can type it.
Okay. Drugs. What is one aspect you would imagine you would want an imaginary friend to have?
I don't know.
Big, scary, tall, smart.
Sure. Big.
Big. You want him to be big. Okay. What is something you do when you drive a car? Well, you can't drive.
Drink.
Drink?
Yeah.
Okay. Name something you own multiple of, Lucas.
Computers.
You own multiple computers? You only own one.
Whatever.
Okay. Together we own multiple computers, but you only own one, I'm afraid. What is something you might find in the USA?
Money.
Money. Describe your current leader in one word.
Obama.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's not an adjective, that's being an adjective.
Oh.
Black, okay, that'll work, okay. What is something you do while traveling? We have all day. Don't worry. My subscribers are patient people.
Yeah.
And I can always edit it out. What is something you do while traveling?
Play Pokemon.
I guess that'll work, we'll try that. Play Pokemon. That may or may not work as a present tense verb. Play Pokemon. Okay, well that worked. Okay. Actually, it probably wouldn't have worked, but oh well. Okay, we'll see. Name something you do when you go to the gym.
I don't go to the gym, Peter.
Well, if you were say if you were
Run.
let's say you would run. Okay. You like running, don't you? If you could have one thing in the world, what would that be? Don't think that for a second.
Wisdom. Yeah.
Wisdom. Singular noun. No,
Think
no,
there's
that's not a noun.
S. Wisdom is
Well, that's not. I'm afraid that's not a noun.
money.
I already answered mine, Lucas.
Fine.
Okay, what anyway? Are you ready to see the result? Are you sure you are ready to see the result? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
Really? This is your last chance to bail, Lucas. Are you really certain you want to see the result?
I'll bail. It's okay.
You want to bail?
Sure.
Okay. No. Okay, we'll start over then. Let's make a story. What'd you call it, Lucas?
Red.
Red. What's your favorite thing to drink?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. And name something. Jeez, I have to move this over every single time. Name something people bring with them to school. Drugs. Okay, let's go through this real quick. What's one aspect you would want an imaginary friend to have? He's big. What is something you do when you drive a car? Or you
Just Pokemon. What?
you Pokemon. That's not a verb.
That's a verb.
You
Whatever.
said. What did you say again? Drink. You said drink last time.
Oh, when you oh yeah.
Drink. Name something you own multiple of. You said.
Not your computer.
Okay. What do you want to do instead?
Cars.
You don't own. Oh, okay. You certainly don't own multiple cars. What is something you might find in the USA? You want to do money again?
Money.
Money. Currently, you're in one word.
Black.
Black. What is something you do while traveling?
Play.
You play.
Play.
Name something you do when you go to the gym. You run. If you could have one thing in the world, what would it be? What did we say for this one again? I forget.
Money again.
Money again.
Strength. Yeah.
That's not a noun.
Good one. That's a noun.
That's not a noun. You can't say a strength.
A arm.
You like an arm?
A brain.
A brain?
If I only had a brain.
Want a brain?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're ready to see the result?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really, this is your last chance, Lucas.
Yeah.
You certain?
No, it's not. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, you sure?
Unless you want to bail again.
Okay, I'll move on. But you can still press cancel if you want. Go back.
Okay, cancel. No.
Press OK or okay, cancel?
Okay.
Okay. Alright, here's our story.
Are you sure?
Each spring, the sky turns red. Giant drops of Dr. Pepper fall from the sky. All this Dr. Pepper helps the grass and the drugs to grow. But it can make things really big, too. Some places get so much Dr. Pepper that rivers drink into the streets. Driving can be tricky. Driving can be tricky when this happens. So some people put special cars on their what?
Some people put special cars on their cars.
Okay.
Maybe I answered cars twice.
No, you said you answered cars to something people have multiple of.
Multiple cars.
Okay. Put cars in their cars.
There's special cars and there's cars.
And when the Dr. Pepper is falling, don't forget your money. Otherwise, your feet might get black if you play in puddles. After all the Dr. Pepper has fallen, the skies begin to run. if you are lucky, you might see a huge brain stretch across the sky. Isn't that a lovely story, Lucas?
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Alright. That was the end of my video, guys. That was the end of this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys found it helpful or somewhat enjoyable, please rate, comment, or subscribe. It really helps me out. I always like to hear your input. So, without any further ado, I forgot something. So this is a part of my swing series. I'll put up annotation on the screen to my other ones. We make all kinds of programs, and also links in the description to all of the other ones. Again, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.